Studios. This is After 9 with Scott and Kat.
Hey now.
Hello, friends.
Hey now. How are you, Kat?
I'm good, thank you. It's another hot fucking day, if you haven't noticed.
Yes. Okay, so one of the things that came up yesterday, I got a whole bunch of stories to tell you from yesterday golfing, because I met a lot of great people.
Yeah.
I had some great conversations. And one of the conversations that came up was about the heat. And somebody actually said what I'd been thinking, but hadn't quite articulated yet. It's a lot of hype and hysteria. People are going crazy right now, and it's not even regular people as much. I think people like you and I and the regular folks that are listening right now are like, yeah, it's really hot. But if you watch the news or listen to the news or view a newspaper or something like that, they're making it out to seem like this is apocalyptic style. So we went back and checked the history. We've got lots and lots and lots of 3 and 4 day stretches in June within the last 20 years where we had stretches where the average temperature was like between 30 and 33 degrees. So what we're getting now is not uncommon for June, but it's certainly been uncomfortable because holy cow, it's been hot.
Yeah, if you know someone who hates the heat, because like for me, I'm like in between. I'm meh, whatever. Do I love being outside in it all the time? No. If there's a pool there, cool. Yeah, I'm fine with it. However, the people who hate it really voice their opinions on how much they fucking hate it right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they sure do. And not a lot of people are comfortable in this heat.
Yeah.
Yesterday, that tournament that I was playing in, it was they were raising money for various causes in Guyana, including building libraries, which they need, and good progress update. When we played this tournament last year, they'd built 13. There's now 40. That's great progress for 1 year.
Wow.
They were also trying to raise money for dialysis units. So there was a lot of people from Guyana at this tournament. And you know, every one of them that would pass me would come over and say hello and, hey, how you doing? Good. And I'm thinking, I am fucking hot. Like I might pass out. They were loving it. Just loving it. Certain people are built for different weather than others, and I don't know that this is necessarily my thing. But I was playing golf yesterday with a couple, and they're friends of mine. And we were going out there having a great time and hitting the ball. Not great, but having fun. And then all of a sudden they broke. They went off like on their own and started having a conference, kind of like you'd see the coach and the quarterback talking on the sidelines of a football game. So I decided, I'm nosy. I'm going to go over and see what the fuck's going on over there.
Yeah, what is happening?
So I drove over and I'm like, hey guys, everything okay? Here's the problem. They had a day off. They've got 2 young kids at home. They got a day off. They had a sitter for the day. They were going to go out and play some golf and have a nice dinner and a couple glasses of wine.
That's nice.
Raise money for a great cause.
Yes.
And then they got the text message. Do you have the stuffy? Turns out one of their kids, Stuffy, the stuffed animal,
Yeah.
is in dad's car.
Uh-oh.
Kids at home with the sitter. Dad's got the stuffy. And I watch these 2 people, adults, professionals in life, absolutely have a meltdown about how the fuck they're going to get this stuffy back to the house that they live in because the kid needs the stuffy. And I thought, it's probably fine. I mean, it's just a stuffy. The kid will be all right. You're going to see them in a few hours anyway. What's the problem? Apparently, it's a big problem when the kid wants the stuffy and has to go down for a nap and there isn't a stuffy.
Yeah.
So they actually considered leaving. They were going to leave this tournament that they paid good money to play in to go and get the stuffy home. And then the most 2024 thing I've ever seen. They said, you know what? Solve the problem. They spent $46 Ubering a stuffy from the golf course to their home.
That's incredible.
$46 plus tip on an Uber to send the stuffy from Milton to Mississauga.
I wonder if the Uber driver like got it, didn't care, or was like had a lot of questions. Like, wait, so am I supposed to buckle it in? Like, is there any specific rules? Is there any music that the stuffy can or can't listen to? Can I put the window down with the stuffy? Like, is it okay just on my passenger seat? Do I need a booster for this stuffy? It's what a strange thing for the Uber driver to go through. But I will say, I get it. I get it. My youngest has a stuffy. We call her Kitty Bear. And you know what she was gifted to me? You know who she was gifted to me by? Our old radio station.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the Evanov Group, when I had my first child, gave me this. And we couldn't quite figure out if it was a bear or a cat. Because it kind of had like a bear face, but it also had like a long cat tail. So it was very confusing. So we called it Kitty Bear. Once my youngest got her paws on it. That was it. She was in love with Kitty Bear, okay? And it used to be fluffy and full, pink. It's very not fluffy anymore, very flat, little off color, not soft.
Right.
But Kitty Bear's been chilling for a long time now. And that's her thing. She'll look for it in bed. Now, she'll be okay with it for a day, though. But if that kid's a napper, I get it. Because if the nap is thrown off because the stuffy's not there, that is going to be their problem. That's going to be a big problem that night because once the nap's thrown off, the evening's thrown off. It's worth every fucking penny to ship that stuffy to wherever it needs to go. I fully understand.
And that's what I said. I'm like, dude, you just spent $46 sending a fucking stuffed animal in an Uber. He said, Scott, it was worth every penny.
Don't have to worry about it. It's done. I get it.
I've never seen anything like that before. We've got a lot to do in this episode of After 9 here, friends. Just before we get to it, though, this is the final 24 hours to bid in the auction to do a round of golf with me. So I just want to clarify a couple of things. It's you and 2 friends. There's 3 of you that you're bidding on here. And right now, I think it's at $540. 3 rounds of golf, $540, especially when you add in all the stuff you get and the fact that it's for a good cause. That's quite reasonable. But I know we can do better. I know there's some of you rolling around right now with a corporate credit card. I know there's some of you guys rolling around with just too much money in your pockets. And maybe you want to be a bit of a philanthropist and try and win a golf tournament. You got to bid. You bid, you win, we golf 2 weeks from today, Flamborough Hills in the Children's Fund Golf Tournament. So if you want to check out the auction, you got to register. You just type in your cell phone number. It'll send you a confirmation code, and then you're good. Go to energy953radio.ca. Energy953radio.ca. Click the banner on the main page for the golf auction, and you can place your bid.
Don't be shy, too. I mean, I think there's people that are waiting. I get it, because I know how auctions work. You're maybe waiting until Friday morning, and that's totally fine. That's allowed. Throughout the show, I'm thinking on if you're willing to and able to listen to the Scott and Kat show, we'd love to have you as a listener on the radio. I think we're going to do like a live in the moment throughout the show. Like set up on where we're at here. What's it going for? So if that's something you're curious about and you want to listen tomorrow morning in real time where we tell you right before the auction closes what it's at, you know what? As a service, we'll do that for you.
Totally. Good luck in the auction if you want to do this. I think it's going to be a fun afternoon. I think we're going to have a blast.
Yeah, for sure.
And I said this earlier this week, but I'll reiterate. If you're a good, serious golfer, you want to go out and win this tournament, let's go out and win that tournament.
This is going to be the most amazing day that you'll never be allowed to talk about. If I know you.
Well, I mean, if you guys just want to go out and screw around and have a few drinks and enjoy the weather and whatever else, I'm in for that too.
I golfed with Scott and then I had to sign an NDA. It was fucked up. Fucking weird.
I got to see if those are updated for 2024. Call legal. I haven't talked to them in like 3 weeks. Okay, so we have a lot to get to. Like I said, in this episode of After 9, we're going to talk about returning to work, and we're going to talk about the change. The real estate market has changed quite a bit. And somebody, it was RateHub, RateHub.ca, that calculated out the percentage of the change in prices for houses.
Sure.
And then how much more money you'd need to make in a year to be able to afford the price change. It's messed up.
It's eye-opening for what's happening right now.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Today is the first day of summer. 4:50 is the solstice when we officially enter the greatest month of the year. Yesterday, the federal health minister asked the Senate to quickly pass the government's pharmacare legislation. Looks like it's going to be here sooner than later, Kat. That'll make birth control and diabetes medications available to anyone with a prescription and a health card as part of the universal single-payer program. Here's the thing. Alberta and Quebec have already said, we're not interested. We don't want it.
Okay.
But they want the money instead. Would you give them the money instead?
That's the thing you can do. I'd take the money instead of a lot of fucking things.
Yeah, no shit.
Wait, we could just do that? Can they just do that?
I used to do that when people wanted to buy me a drink. Can I just have the money instead? Great. I don't pay for drinks anyway. No, I mean, hey, listen, there's people out there that don't have coverage and it's going to suck when they have to get their diabetes medications. And for whatever reason, we still let pharma companies run the show.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like we tell them, hey, if you want to sell your drugs in Canada, there's going to be hard limits on how much you can make. There's going to be hard limits on how much you can sell. It's going to be above board. It's going to be affordable for Canadians. And if you can't do that, piss off. We have not taken that stand yet, even though I wish we would. So We got to pay high prices for drugs, and a lot of people can't afford it. This should bridge the gap. My only thing here is, and I do love the birth control thing.
This fucking thing, sorry. It's
Something fall?
Yeah, this fucking thing always falls.
Was it the headphone amp?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think that the birth control meds, great, go ahead, run them through. But right now, these drugs, for those who have drug coverage, and I think the government is banking on the fact that a lot of people have coverage through work. Why on earth would the insurance companies that we all deal with through work continue to cover a drug that if they don't cover it, the government has to cover it? I imagine a time when, not too far from now, when people who have benefits are just going to see diabetes and what are the other ones? Birth control medications just delisted. And they're just going to make the government pay for it. That's going to cost us a fortune. If you look at the program on paper, where it's just for people who don't have coverage, it's expensive, but not crazy. If the insurance companies delist it, then we're screwed.
Do you know how expensive diabetes medication is?
Some of them, yeah.
Some of them. Extremely expensive.
That's going to cost us
I mean,
fortune.
birth control too, I think. I think it's quite expensive.
Can we not just make this means-based? For example, I'd love to live in a country, Cat, where if you can't afford it, but you need it, we'll make sure you get it. In other words, if you're diabetic and you truly cannot afford it, you just don't make enough money to be able to make ends meet, I'd love to think that we as a society could step in and say, okay, no problem, we'll cover your drugs. But if you're a Wall Street or Bay Street banker, if you are a government employee or an executive bringing home $4 or $5 million a year, even making $500,000 a year, I don't know that we need to cover your drugs for you. I really don't. It seems like we're just pissing away money here. Why can't we make this means-based so that people who need help get help, but people who don't need help don't get the help?
I mean, it goes back to a lot of other things, a lot of other handouts that we've had, right?
$10 a day childcare is a good place to start.
And that's still a mess.
Is it getting any better?
I don't know, actually, because my kids aren't in daycare settings anymore. I haven't heard firsthand stuff, but I'm sure it's still a little bit messy.
Good news, and you don't hear this one very often. The unionized mechanics at WestJet have called off their job action, their strike that was set to happen tonight. We've had a couple of strikes averted lately. The TTC one, we still don't know what was given up to avoid a strike. We don't have the details yet because the members have got to vote, or they just recently voted and it hasn't been made public.
Okay.
So that's one. And then we had the border guards. They were going to strike. And then that one got averted. And now WestJet. Now, this one's a private union. They are the mechanics at WestJet. But they say they agreed late last night or early this morning that they'll just turn it over to an arbitrator.
Okay.
But in the meantime, WestJet canceled 30 flights. 30 flights full of people are left scrambling right now because they thought there was going to be a strike. Why did it take until midnight on strike day for them to figure this out? Very frustrating. If you are stranded anywhere in the world, thanks for listening to After 9. Here's hoping you get home quick.
No kidding.
Our population has now passed 41 million people, Cat. In the first quarter of this year, it was largely driven by immigration, according to StatsCan. We welcomed more than 121,700 immigrants during the first quarter that ended on April the 1st. 41 million people. You know, we were stuck at 30 to 33. We were stuck there my entire life. And we've gone from 33 to 41 in like the last 5-6 years.
And I mean, I think we've got a lot of land. That's fine. The only problem that we can all agree is a problem is that everyone's kind of popping up in the same places.
Yep.
That's the problem. And we're not too spread out.
It's getting crowded around here, isn't it?
It's getting real crowded. Real crowded.
Can we do that? I don't know much about the immigration policies, or maybe even the courts have ruled on this, but frankly, it's our country and I don't see why we couldn't. If somebody wants to come here and we want them to come here, why can't we tell them, yeah, you're going to come here, and when you do come here, we're going to put you up in a hotel or pay for all kinds of shit. You get debit cards, and it's crazy how much money we spend here. Why can't we tell them then, for the first 3 years that you're here, or the first 5 years that you're here, you won't get your citizenship or permanent residency application for 3 to 5 years. As long as you live where we tell you to live, you'll get it when your, I don't know, your period is over. Your, what do they call those things? your trial period. or
Trial
whatever.
or something?
Yeah, probation. that's
Something,
it.
anything.
And why can't we tell them, hey, listen, if you want to come to Canada, great. But if you think you're going to live in Montreal, Vancouver, or Toronto, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
You're actually going to live in Thunder Bay, just so you know.
There you go, right? Yes.
You're actually going to live in Sault Ste. Marie. You're going to live in the outskirts of Winnipeg. I don't know what would be so wrong with that, but it seems like we just let everybody in and everybody funnels to the GTA, and
Yeah.
it's very crowded around here. You know what I mean?
Certainly is.
Another,
Well, the traffic, I mean, you could tell. Just everything, right? Everything's busier. Everything.
the buses, everything.
Yeah.
No, you're absolutely right. Well, we've grown again. They started with 2 and now there's 4. McDonald's has already added 2 new flavors of McShaker fries. Now you can get ramen and tzatziki.
Okay. Tzatziki might not be bad. I don't know.
You know, I love it. Like, just love it if you put it in, if it's like Greek night or something like that. If we're going to put it in a salad, put it in a wrap, a pita, whatever. Great. I don't know that I just want the flavor of tzatziki mixed with fries,
I
though.
know. You know, someone brought up a good point or that was listening to our show that said, I kind of like just the flavor of McDonald's fries. Were people complaining about the flavor of the fries, or is this just this a marketing thing and they hope that people will go out and buy it and that's all there is to it?
Fine point, Kat. Yeah, McDonald's fries are consistently ranked amongst the best fries out there.
Like some people go there just for the fries. So
It's amazing they didn't take something on the menu that's shitty and say, hey, we've made this taste better.
right?
Although I can't really think of anything
I
shitty
don't
on the
know
menu,
either.
but
They didn't listen, by the way. I said ranch, but apparently McDonald's does not listen, but that's fine.
I mean, ranch would be great.
Right?
Get like a Kansas City barbecue. Get something
Sure.
like that.
Great.
You know, we don't need
I don't know. Frank's,
ramen.
Frank's Red Hot even. Like get another company involved.
Even that would be good.
Right?
Even that would be good. As the House of Commons prepares to break for the summer, new polling is out. Every year at the end of a session, they'll do a poll just to say, hey, here's how things are looking, and the government's doing pretty well popular-wise, or they're not doing very well, and here's how the competition's doing. This year is very different from previous years. I'm going to read you the story as it's written by the Canadian press. Justin Trudeau, according to a majority of Canadians, should no longer be prime minister when MPs return in the fall, according to this new poll. Ipsos polling shows 68% of Canadians.
That's a lot of Canadians.
68% of Canadians want Trudeau to step down and retire as prime minister. The desire for him to call it quits is highest in Alberta. No real surprise. But get this, 79% of Albertans want him to step down this summer. Almost 8 in 10 people. In the Atlantic provinces, 76%, more than 3 out of 4. Ipsos CEO Daryl Bricker says it's the worst they've seen it for Trudeau, saying it's close to rock bottom. The poll also shows 75% of Canadians want another party to take over government, while just 25% think the Liberals deserve to be reelected. There's, I think it's because there's a lot of scandals. Every time there's just like one thing after another, it really hurts the government badly, and they didn't have a whole lot of popularity going in. And it's funny because out of all of the scandals that are going on, from foreign interference to the green slush fund that's now being investigated by the RCMP, 6 different investigations there. I think the one that bothers me the most is this flight. You remember when they did that trip over to the Indo-Pacific region? It wasn't that long ago. The prime minister got a new plane, so they wanted to try it out. And hey, a trip over to the Indo-Pacific, it's great. Obviously, there's food on a plane. It's a long, long flight. I think they were like 16 hours or something like that.
That is long. My God.
And I don't know how many people this plane holds. It's an Airbus, as far as I know, but I'm going to assume it's a couple hundred people.
Sure.
And that would be media and people like that travel with the prime minister when he goes on one of these junkets. They spent $220,000 in food.
That's exciting. Like, I mean, we all know that's not right. That's a lot of fucking money.
$220,000. Somebody worked it out. It is more than 500,000 meals at the food bank for the couple hundred people on this plane for 3 days. It was night 1 for the first flight. This is the overseas flight. They had beef brisket with mashed parsley potatoes, with truffle oil, braised lamb shanks, and baked cheesecake with pistachio brittle.
Yeah, you don't like the truffle oil? Really? You had to? Oh, shit.
Could you guys please read the room? Could you guys please look around and say, well, 1 in 4 people in Canada is now officially in poverty. Maybe we shouldn't be blowing huge amounts of money on lavish trips overseas. Maybe we could make do with, what is it we get when we travel overseas now? They don't give you a meal. They give you like here's a Swiss chalet wrap and some fucking fries and stuff.
Yeah.
We aren't getting braised lamb
bad.
shake.
I'll tell you that much. Definitely not that.
And it's the Army that does it. It's the Canadian Armed Forces
Yeah.
that fly the Prime Minister around. It's one of their best pilots that gets assigned to CF1, I guess we call it. Does the Army send an army of cooks in to cater this plane
Sounds
and
like
just
it,
cook up
yeah.
a bunch of briskets and load them up?
No, the Hungry Man dinner was out of the question. Yeah, obviously.
Well, $220,000. I actually wouldn't have been that upset if they would have just said, hey, guess what? Everybody's getting a Hungry Man. And if you don't want it, too fucking bad. That's all there is.
You're stuck on this plane. What are you going to do? Get off? Just fucking eat it or get off.
It's just so tone deaf. I can't for the life of me figure out what anyone was thinking when they did that. I think it's important, Kat, that we know somebody who specializes in many different things. If you have plumbing issues, it's nice to be able to say, I got a guy for that. Or if you have yard work that needs to be done, it's nice to be able to say, I got somebody for that. Mm-hmm. The same applies when you need a lawyer. And it's important to have not just a reputable, well-known lawyer with an incredible track record for success. It's important to have a lawyer that you can call up. And you can absolutely call 1-800-567-HURT if you have legal issues ranging from real estate to personal injury to, oh my God, somebody's suing me.
Yeah, honestly, the entire team is incredible. And maybe you've heard Sandra Ziskind before on the Scott and Kat podcast. She really is amazing, and we love having her on. We're going to have her on again soon. But they're always my go-to whenever anyone asks. And doing the job that we do, Scott, people do ask us for referrals for things all the time. Anytime you need a lawyer, we strongly suggest you call Diamond and Diamond at 1-800-567-HURT or go to diamondlaw.ca.
As we were recording yesterday, we didn't have all the details, but we do now. This is a follow-up on something that got a lot of DMs, and I think it was earlier this week or late last week. For a third time in 2 weeks, a dump truck was driving around with its bin up. This one took out the overpass on the Fort Erie-bound QEW near Jordan Road around 7 o'clock yesterday morning. Left a major highway, the essential artery into Niagara region, down to one lane for hours because another dump truck driver didn't know he was going with the bin up. What's it going to take? You had a good common sense suggestion. I had some common sense suggestions. Who's in charge of the dump trucks here? Why are they not putting alarms on these things?
Well, and we got so many DMs from people. We read some of them at the time after the first or second incident. Might be the third. I don't even know. But someone who messaged, who does this for a living, says there's definitely an alarm. Sometimes what'll happen, though, is if you've got music loud or you're distracted with your phone. That's what this person guessed, is that this person was so distracted with something, potentially their phone, potentially something else, which is such a scary thing to consider when you look at how heavy of a weapon it is that you're driving, because that's essentially what it could turn into. Thankfully, nobody was killed here, but there's supposed to be an alarm that does sound, and it's possible that they were just too distracted to notice. That doesn't seem right, though.
You know, it's
you
funny.
shouldn't be able to drive. There should be a mechanism that stops it. Sure, sound the alarm, and if nothing gets fixed, shut her fucking down. How do we do this? I don't know, but it doesn't seem. It seems like it's happening way too much.
Most cars freak out if it notices you've taken your eyes off the road for more
it'll
than a
shake.
second.
The whole car, in some cases, will shake and vibrate to wake your ass up to something happening. Right? That's the newer, smarter cars do this. They'll let you know. They will beep and shake and all the things to be like, pay attention, bitch. But this one, what's going on? It's going unnoticed or unrecognized, or people are just, I don't know. Maybe it's true that they're that distracted.
Let's talk a little bit about real estate for a second here, Kat, because I appreciate very much that RateHub.ca sent us this. Mm-hmm. It was some insights that they had, and I actually followed up and asked them if they could dive a little deeper, because I really wanted to super serve the people who listen to After 9 with this information, particularly the ones that are listening in Ontario. So they calculated the minimum annual income required to buy an average home in some of Canada's major cities, based on the May and April sales numbers.
Let's run down this list. It's going to be, by the way, not easy to hear, I think, for some people.
So, in Hamilton, this is the worst one, by the way, Hamilton, Ontario. In April, the average home was going for $858,000. In May, it was $868,000. It's up $9,400.
Okay.
So, the stress test rate is 7.49%. The mortgage rate, 5.49%. Meaning, in Hamilton, the change in income required is an extra $1,550. In other words, if you didn't jump into the market last year, you're jumping in now, it'll cost you $1,500 more in income. How many people got a $1,500 raise this year that they can allocate 100% of it to buying a house? $1,500. In Ottawa, you'd need to make another $1,060. Vancouver is up $800. Montreal, about $460. There are some areas that are getting cheaper. Want to guess?
Oh my gosh. No.
Toronto,
Shut up.
$1,250 less because prices have gone down in Toronto,
Well,
an average of $6,000 a year.
I think there's a fair amount of people that left Toronto for the reason of it being so expensive. So I guess that does leave a little bit of room, which then drops down the price. But once it fills back up again, it's just going to go back up again.
Halifax homes dropped by $11,000 on average month to month. You need to make $2,000 less to afford a home in Halifax. Let's do some other areas around here. Home prices in Kitchener-Waterloo up about $2,500. That means in order to buy this month versus last month, you need to make an extra $320 a year. London and St. Thomas, their homes went down $600 in value. You could make $200 less and afford a home in London or St. Thomas. Barrie and District, $1,500 increase in the cost of homes. You'd need to make an extra $130. And it's funny because we hear so much about home building and things like that. And they talk about these prices, and I still haven't figured out where all the billions are going. The government keeps announcing billions of dollars for homes for this and that. But aren't people going to buy these homes eventually?
Yeah.
I would think. So what are we spending billions of dollars on? The government pays to build it, and then is that what's going on here? Somebody buys it, and where does that money go? Does it go to the builder or go to the government?
That's a good question. I don't know.
Somebody should come out and explain why we're spending billions of dollars to build homes when we know that people are going to eventually buy those homes when they're done.
Yeah, I don't know. I was under the assumption it would go to the builders because they will put it toward the workers, right? And it will essentially become income in those pockets of those workers. That's my assumption, though.
Are there any workers making more? Feel free to DM us.
I did not see any receipts. I mean, there's lots of jobs, though, in that way. There's a lot of construction that is happening.
Well, it's just that with rates as high as they are, and particularly with the stress test being as high as it is, 7.49% is what they test you for on interest rates.
Yikes, guys.
Even though I don't think it's a complete fantasy to think that they could go that high right now. If anything else, I think banks are going to start collapsing rather than we'll have to raise interest rates.
Yeah, I think so too. A lot of people are predicting that if anything, it's going to go wee.
Did you have you thought at all about taking your cash out of the banks? Because a lot of people are saying
I've heard this. It's kind of freaking me out to think about that, but I have put a lot of it, into my mortgage.
Oh,
like a
okay,
ton,
smart.
like a shit ton.
Smart.
Instead of lingering with the banks.
Yeah.
I've thought about those kinds of things, but sure, it makes me nervous for all the other things that are in the bank, like all the different accounts that we all have, right? Lingering in bank accounts.
Sure. It's just anecdotal, everybody.
It is anecdotal.
But I
Do what you want.
hear from a lot of people that are in the know and very concerned about what's going to happen with our banks over the next few months. And I'm not giving out financial advice, they have suggested that they are going to start pulling their money out of banks because if shit goes south with the banks, then you wouldn't be able to get your money above and beyond what's insured by the CDIC. Anyway, my point here is that, they toss around all these home numbers and we hear the month to month and this and that. And, prices going up $2,500 on average in 1 month. If that happens every single month, now you see how much of an impact it makes on your income. 1 month. In some areas, people need to make an extra $1,500 a year to be able to afford it. That's a lot of money because people aren't getting huge raises handed out every year. A lot of people are happy just to have a job. Hamilton, you need to make an extra $1,550 a year to be able to afford a home this month compared to last month. That's messed up to me. Just crazy. Anyway, thank you very much to RateHub.ca. I don't know what they do there. I assume they're a mortgage company. It sounds like one.
Or at least giving you the info on mortgages and rates, and because some just advise on those. So that's, hey, either way, very cool. Thank you.
Feel free to reach out to them. Metrolinx has issued a news release, Kat, about certain routes experiencing disruptions. These are GO train routes as a result of the heat. They say during prolonged periods of high heat, rail tracks have the potential to soften and expand, and that requires trains to run at slower speeds.
Yeah.
Is that true? Because I always felt like they were lying. It would take a lot to be able to melt steel, and I just don't see it bending on a whim in 30-degree heat.
This is one of the reasons why the GO trains are great for a lot of different reasons, but I remember delays and lack of trains one year when I was taking it, the one year that I did take the GO train quite often, every day, in fact, that this was the case. It was like a heat wave similar to this. And it was like, yeah, we're going to run less trains because we have to go slower. I remember being like, this sounds like horse shit. But maybe, God, I don't know. It's probably true. I'm just going to assume that they're right about that. It is fucking hot, though.
It is. I just can't imagine, softened steel hot. I thought you needed, torches and shit to do that. And it's not as hot as a torch.
I don't know. When it's baking in the sun and there's no fucking shade around the tracks, it's pretty fucking hot.
Okay, I got a banana in the car. Right now.
Why would you do that?
Because I'm stupid and I forgot it was there.
Do you think that the peel at this point has disintegrated?
I don't think so.
You sure?
I'm picturing the whole thing went dark color and soppy, soupy, kind of gross.
Yeah, but it'll seep out the peel. Are you sure it won't seep out the peel? I'm worried about your seats. Where is it? On the floor, on the seat?
It is back
between?
seat. It's on the back seat.
Oh,
yeah.
no. Oh, no. Well, your dog will like it.
If I gave you $100, would you eat it?
No, absolutely not.
$200.
Nope.
Is there a number? Should I keep
Probably
going?
maybe 300. I'd grab a spoon.
$300, you'd eat a banana that was sitting in my...
I need to see the cash first, though.
Of course
I know
it's cash.
you.
We took all of the money out of the bank. Do you need a gold bar, by the way? I can sell you one for $2 grand.
No, for a gold bar, I will put that thing wherever you want.
Oh, that's great. What's going on with the return to work? Because I'm reading an article here on Bloomberg about employers still trying everything they can to get people to return to the office. Why are companies so hell-bent on this? Didn't we agree during COVID that if it can be done easily, remotely, it should be done?
No, it's because people fuck around. People fuck around when they're at home. It happens, okay? I'm not saying it's happening with everyone. No. So don't get all up in get your knickers in a twist or whatever you call it. I just read the article about Wells Fargo. Did you hear about Wells Fargo firing a dozen employees who were all in on it together?
No.
They were on a modified, hybrid schedule, I should say, right? So sometimes they're in, sometimes they're out. The days they were out, they all covered for each other, but they all actually weren't out, and they were using the software needed to move the fucking mouse around and click some shit and type some shit. They were doing it for months. They just got fired. You can find the article online, but Wells Fargo employees fired. Look that up and you'll see what I'm talking about. But apparently they all kind of had each other's back. So it was they'd send emails to each other that actually they didn't need to send to each other. It didn't make sense just to seem like, oh, yep, they're working. Oh, look, here, see, Scott emailed Kat at this time and okay. Oh, and they clicked their mouse and did the thing. Cool. Because they wouldn't check in on the actual work for those employees. They just kind of looked at their activity. And they got away with it for months. And those were only the days that they weren't in the office, of course.
Hey, listen, we all screw around at work. And certain days are worse than others. But there's a fine line between screwing around at work and fraud. And that's fraud. I wonder how much money these people were making for doing no work and spending more time coordinating the screwing around than they were doing the actual job.
Well, then you can see why these billion-dollar businesses in some cases will look at that and say, I'm not taking any fucking chances on you people. Get into the office.
So weird because, we talk about the 4-day work week and all of the data says this is the way to go. Everybody loves it. We are more productive. Fortune 500 companies right down to mom and pop shops saying, yeah, the 4-day work week, that's where it's at. That's where we need to be. Work from home, though, is an interesting compromise for a lot of people. But if people are going to take advantage of it, none of us should be surprised. I almost think that I'm not big on the whole snitch line thing, but if you like working from home, and one of your coworkers is completely fucking the dog, and that's going to screw it up for you, you should not feel bad about saying something to somebody. You shouldn't, because they're going to screw it up for everybody.
Yeah, they will. They have, I'm sure. I have no doubt in my mind that has happened multiple times. We're just hearing about the bigger companies like the Wells Fargos, who, by the way, are more than happy to put this out there in the news.
because it gives them all the excuse in the world to say, you get your asses back in here.
It's like a threat, right?
And you can't blame them. They caught people red-handed. And this fact that software is just like apparently everywhere. I don't know, because we don't do that kind of work where we would even utilize that if we wanted to fuck around.
Yeah.
I don't know how it works, but there must be a lot of different kinds of software to do that. How do you get away with it with a company like Wells Fargo, though, for so long?
I think it's just too many employees, not enough people watching.
Probably
If
it.
you know the inner workings, you could probably screw over any company like that.
Fuck, one of them might have been a supervisor.
Oh, that's true,
One
too.
of them might have been their job.
That's smart. Get a supervisor in on it. Yeah, that's
Then
good.
you're really covered.
Well, this Bloomberg article talks about all the different things that certain companies have tried to do to entice people back to the office. By the way, can work not just say, you're coming back, end of story? And if you don't, you consider this your notice.
I would think so. Because those people are replaceable, whether they like to know it or not. Maybe in some cases, though, they are worried about losing good employees if they are doing well at home. I think it's one of those weird things where it's like you can't favorite one employee over the other. So it's either everybody back in, don't give a fuck if anyone leaves, even though those are good people that you might lose, or maybe you don't care and you just say it and then you lose some people. I'm not sure.
Some of the things that some of the bigger companies have tried are fancy coffee, i.e. bringing in a barista.
Yeah.
I'd love to have a barista working here
that'd
and
be
just be able to say, hey, make me an Americano now.
Oh my gosh, I would just roll in. That'd be great. We have a machine here, but we have to do all the work for it.
We fucking paid
What's
for
up
it.
with that?
That's our
we,
machine.
We actually did pay for it. That's right.
Well, we brought it in.
Hang on. Dave did buy us an espresso maker, but I have not used it.
No, I haven't either. Well, nice work, Dave. You brought in an espresso maker, but no grinder. What the fuck am I supposed to do with that? Like, think it through, dude. You're management. You should know better.
He doesn't drink coffee is the best part, so he really doesn't know.
Okay, well, they say they've tried things like fancy coffees in the office, which is fine, and yoga classes. Can you imagine if work said, hey, everybody, it's noon. Come on down to the boardroom and put your butt in the air.
That wouldn't help me. That wouldn't help me want to stay. Like if they said stick around longer than your regular day, Scott and Kat, because we've got yoga class. I'm not fucking sticking around for yoga class. Nope.
DJ parties. More workplaces have brought in the mix masters there, and they've got the ones and twos set up, and they're doing their thing while people are working.
While they're working?
Yeah.
It's happening like during work hours, just like
Yeah.
a dance party. Okay. I don't hate that one. Like I feel like it'll help to kind of make the time pass in the day.
I mean, you're trying to compose a professional email, and you're using all the regular office jargon, and then you got some guy in the corner and put your fucking hands up.
Bend over, touch your toes. Like, oh fuck, am I supposed to forward this email off or touch my toes?
I said no to yoga.
Yeah.
What?
What is happening?
The new thing that they're trying, and they're hoping this is going to work, is giving employees their own desk. A lot of companies, apparently during COVID, when they were trying to get people to not work in the office, transitioned to hot desking. That's what they call it.
I didn't know that was what it was called.
Hot desking is where workers go into the office infrequently and they just grab a workspace and get their work done while they're there. Mm-hmm. Now, that was supposed to be a more modern, communal, adaptable working environment.
Right.
Now the theory is if we give people their own desk that they can set up the way they want with their stuff in the drawer and their pictures on the desk and their computer that nobody else uses, then people are going to want to come back to the office.
Yeah, if they can make it homey enough, I could see how someone would be like, that's a little escape from your home office, right? Maybe that would make it better for some. I could see that maybe happening, maybe working.
I don't know if it's going to take a desk to get me back to the office if I'm already at home. I mean, your desk right now is what? Your kitchen table, your coffee table, your, I don't know, deck chair out back. Where are you working from now? And they want you to go back to work and drive and have to get dressed every day and all that shit.
So that you can water your plant on your desk.
Yeah.
Yay.
I don't know if that's going to be all that successful.
I don't know either.
Bloomberg has got the article. One more thing, and we are real low on time, so we got to do this quick. Unfortunately, Kendrick Lamar and Drake, I thought let it go because he deleted the Kendrick diss tracks off of his channels.
And by all means, it seems like for now he did kind of let it go. And then that could have been with the press that surrounded him. It could have been because he realized Kendrick won. It's hard to say.
It could have been he's just sick of people showing up at his fucking house. So that was probably the catalyst that made him get rid of it. But Kendrick didn't. And last night, Kendrick did a show that he is very famous for. It's in Inglewood, California. Not only did he perform live, and I believe it was the encore, if I'm not mistaken, he performed live Not Like Us, which was the main Drake diss track. It's the people that were on stage with him when he did it that I think Drake thinks are his friends.
Well, I mean, we don't really know what's going on. I've heard things, and I'll tell you about those things in just a sec. But what I will tell you is, so Dr. Dre showed up too. He performed, still DRE. And just so you know, Kendrick performed one of his Drake diss tracks. Fuck, that's hard to say. Drake diss tracks, not once, not twice, but 5 times.
Really?
5 times last night. And by the way, people only had like less than 2 weeks notice for this event. This is a Juneteenth celebration. It's called the Pop Out. If you want to look up videos and pictures of what we're talking about, and they packed the fucking place. Packed it. So not just DeMar DeRozan, The Weeknd was there, but we know that The Weeknd and Drake hate each other.
Was DeMar a Raptor when Drake was the official ambassador?
Of course.
They used to roll together, didn't they?
They were on stage during the whole thing. Like during the parade, they were together on stage. They shouted each other out. I don't know if this is a way for any of them to say they don't like Drake, but I will say that they were all definitely singing along to Not Like Us. That's what they were doing.
Wow.
There's so many memes, guys. Oh, the fucking memes are always good of how Drake woke up this morning learning about all this. And they're great. Here's what I've heard is that Drake doesn't have as many friends as he thinks he does. And it's not necessarily just about the music. It's about other shit that's come to light about Drake.
Really?
And I hope they're not true. I hope all of the rumors are not true. But as far as we know, the rumors. I will tell you one thing, though, and I learned this from, there's something called the Black Music Festival that happened in Kitchener-Waterloo this past weekend.
Okay.
And there's some people that were a part of a Q&A session that are very close, that have very close ties. And I spoke to the organizer of this event, who told me that they know those warning shots at Drake's property, which hit his security guard. Do we even have an update on that security guard and how he's doing?
No idea. If he got out of the hospital, it wasn't announced.
It wasn't
publicly.
announced, no. Maybe they wanted to quietly go away, though. But it was the Weeknd retaliation because someone actually, not on record, not that we know of, entered the Weeknd's place, and they believe it was Drake's camp. This is just speculation I'm telling you about. But what I'm trying to say is I think there's a lot of other shit happening behind the scenes that we really don't know about. And I think if we did know about it, it would be mind-blowing. It really would.
It seems like it's getting dangerous, too. Seems like it. If people are taking sides like that, and we all know shots are getting fired. So.
I find it so funny, too. Like, Kendrick, cool, man. Like, hey, he has songs that people really like, and they are considered Drake diss tracks, and that's cool. And people showed up, and people are still talking about the beef, but I find it so interesting that Drake just kind of shriveled up and went away a little bit about it. But Kendrick's like, fuck that. I'm singing this song 5 fucking times.
Holy shit.
So, like, why? Would be my question. Like, why wouldn't you just be like, okay, cool. He knows I won because that's my way. That's my way, and my way anyway. That I think that Drake knows he won is that he just kind of backed off. He's deleted the shit from Instagram. Yeah. Deleted all of it. Like it never happened. But Kendrick's still like, yeah, fuck you. I'm still doing it.
Interesting.
It's very interesting. I'd love to know it all, but at the same time, like I said, I think our minds would change on a lot of things if we knew the whole story.
I feel like you know the whole story.
I'm telling you what I can tell you. No, I don't. I don't want to.
Okay.
No, listen. I don't want to be one of those people that says a bunch of shit if it's not accurate. I don't know firsthand, but I know people who know things. That's all it is. I don't know firsthand, so that's why I wouldn't say everything that I've heard. However, if you dive deep enough, go for it. You could probably find some shit.
Okay, let me ask you a question then to end it. You're walking down the street in Yorkville. SUV pulls up. Drake. Drake's like, yo, cat, jump in. Let's go for a ride. Just you and me. You getting in that car?
That'd be a strange scenario. Yeah, I think I would.
Yeah? Okay.
I think I would.
No concerns about being
questions. Alone. I'd have my phone handy and I'd have questions.
Hey guys, we'll have a brand new After 9 tomorrow. I believe Dave Blizzard is going to join us.
Yay.
Have yourselves a great day and stay cool.
Yes. Bye, friends.
Chipotle is selling a new Chipotle Boy Bowl aimed at finance bros. Yeah, a bowl for finance bros. It's a normal bowl, but instead of building it yourself, your dad just hands it to you.
Authorities in Hong Kong evacuated a train this week after a snake was discovered on board. Meanwhile, in New York, a train with a snake on it was the only one without rats.
Some news from overseas. Vladimir Putin and Kim Jong-un just signed an agreement that pledges mutual aid if either country faces aggression. The two leaders also exchanged gifts, and Putin gave him a car. Yeah. And because it was for Kim Jong-un, it was one of those little plastic Jeeps.